Now, let's talk about PAWD. And they landed the Pets Corner deal. Now, I spoke to one of the owners, incredibly kind, lovely, lovely bloke. He sent me a few samples to one of our branches. Thank you so much if you are listening. So, PAWD Drinks business updates launched March 2024. It's 1 year old. Raised pre-seed round before launching. Currently raising seed round to invest in digital growth. They have three products: Joints, Wellness, and Carmen. There are supplement brands in alternative formats, less efficient than liquids, lower palatability. They reckon they do not have direct competitors. There are drinks brands, largely either hydration focused or gimmicky in our eyes, they say, like beer for dogs. So they want to build a brand. They want to be highly credible with world leading science behind them, but also a friendly brand to be a part of. They want to grow subscription base and they want to explore retail opportunities, but absolutely essential to maintain a premium reputation and avoiding discounters. Now, I did actually tell my staff to give me some pointers what they thought. Now, this is not like criticism. This is just what my team told me. There were like 5 people. I asked 5 members of staff. Now, the first one is they are sold as a supplement, not just a drink. They make the claim of them being a replacement to supplements in tablet form. However, the drinks are to be drunk daily, so a 60 milliliter serving caters to both a Chihuahua and a Great Dane! Question mark. They state for all sizes. I would be annoyed if I had a small dog, so it's just like one dose for all dogs. Another member of staff said, if taken daily, the cost is £20 per box of 7. The monthly cost would be over 80 quid per month per dog. This has to be one of the most, if not the most expensive supplements on the UK market. And she said here that this is more expensive than some monthly prescriptions from the vet. I like the packaging. They don't like the recycling. So if you subscribe to this, you'll have 356 of those bottles to recycle plus all the cardboard. That's a lot of packaging to shelve in independent retailers, to transport. Compare this to other competitors like Door West, for example. One bottle of Movelia last one of the girls 1 month, and full price is around the same price as these drinks for 1 week. And another one says, I like the idea of the product in theory. If it were more akin to something like Simproof for people. But as it is, I certainly don't see it being a reliable sale in stores. Even online, the market would be limited. I like the product. I didn't really see that much bad with it, or I can't really criticize it. Whether it will be adopted by consumers, that will be a different story. You've spoken to them. Please do tell.
Yeah, I really like the PAWD Drinks guys. I think they're really good guys. Really like them. I do really like the product. I like the potential behind it. I do agree with your staff on the pricing. Like, I do think it's too expensive for mass market. And I do think that there's things they can change about it. And I think, like, instead of being, 7 shots a day in what are very attractive little bottles, I like the small bottles. I think it looks great. But I think having a refill like style container would make more sense with reusable bottles. I think would be, so sell people to 7 bottles initially, but they're reusable, which you can top up easily with a refill bottle, which costs probably less than half the price by the time you take all the packaging, etc., out of the mix. Because I do think like £80 a month for a dog is a lot of money. I think it's more than most people would spend on their dog food, let alone on just a one-a-day supplement. But yeah, I do think it's got a lot of potential. I think Pets Corner is the right first retailer for them because Pets Corner is obscenely expensive anyway. It's very high end, and I think like it just fits their brand. It fits the Pets Corner brand. But I do think that long term they do need to find a halfway point between looking really good and being a bit more economic for, let's say, more normal users. Because I think a tenner a week is sufferable for people. I think £20 a week is getting up there. To be honest, when you're suggesting that they need to buy it every week, but then look, there's certain things you wouldn't need to buy every week, like the calming, for example. That's not something you'd need to, unless your dog is an absolute headbanger. You wouldn't be giving it like a calming supplement every day of every week, you know. So um, I think for let's say the joint support one, for example, having a large refill bottle would make sense, where you could actually cut that price down significantly.
You have spoken about the supplements market, and I do think they are in the right niche. When it comes to a big bottle and you like opening the bottle, as we say with salmon oil, it just oxidizes as soon as you open the bottle. So in our opinion, so we don't sell salmon oil, for example, because as soon as you open the bottle, it starts going rancid. It oxidizes. Whether it oxidizes in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and most bottles of salmon oil go unused largely, or you have to like chuck them out or whatever. So I do like the small bottles. It's a good category to get into. Do you think this has room to run in terms of the niche that they're in?
Do I think Poor Drinks' product can work within the niches? And yeah, no, I do. I do think it, because I think it's an alternative delivery system. You can make the argument it's more effective. Is it going to be the most important part of that niche? Like, probably not. I think powders and oils and that sort of stuff are going to be more important. But I think, and I kind of disagree with the fact they've got no competitors, because you have bone broths, um, you have things like Fur Boost. There's other products out there which, although they're not serving exactly the same problems, you could argue that bone broth can be used as a joint support product as well. You know, so. But again, bone broth, when you buy it shelf stable, is pretty expensive too. I do think that there's a real niche there for them. I do think that it's something they can. I do think that they can make it work. I just think that the prices could longer term need to be tweaked to get mass market. I think in Pets Corner it would be fine. But I think, I'm not seeing. Let's say if you put it into an average pet store, what the sell through would be.
One of the things that never fails to amaze me is whenever people pick up a product and they just read, "Oh, it's grain free. Oh, it says Carmen. Oh, for joints. Oh, for whatever." The consumer is still quite susceptible, in my opinion, to reading a label and making a decision based on that label. The PAWD wellness is a vitamin. Do you take vitamins every day? Probably not. But as soon as you have a headache, you take a paracetamol, right? The calming and the joints, I do like those sorts of pain points. But the wellness, not just like for PAWD drinks, for other brands as well. I think there's a lot of improvement that can be made by a lot of these companies to target and to focus the mind of the consumer onto what they want to portray.
I think like the whole multivitamin thing isn't that saleable in the pet industry. Like, just generally, like wellness, because people buy it because they want a problem solved a lot of the time, and that's why calming would work, because you think, okay, fireworks is coming up, I'll give it to him a week before, like, so he's chilled out. That's why you buy it. You're not buying it just because you're thinking about the generalized, like health properties of it. And like when you have, and a lot of these, look, the supplement market has been pushed by raw feeders, and their whole thing of like, I'm feeding an 80-10-10, but I'm also going to give some pumpkin powder, I'm going to give some goat's milk, I'm going to give some this, I'm going to give some that, I'm going to put some bone broth on it. And it's this whole plate of stuff which caters their individual dog on top of the food. And so when you actually then go to multivitamins, you're like, look, sort of going back like 30 years and you're looking at SA37, and it's sort of like, okay, I've got some tripe, I've got some biscuit, what can I put on to make it complete? It's not really such a big market. But, and again, I think also, look, I think for PAWD, I think their future is in probably America rather than here, because I think in America, the price point wouldn't be such a problem. I think this country, it's harder outside of your pets corners and some specialty shops to get that, and the online channels. And I do think they're going to have to do a lot of shows and actually really explain it to people, because I think it does require explanation. And I think the only way you can do that is actually talking to people and getting into the zeitgeist. But to be fair, when I spoke to them, that's what they're doing. So
Yeah.
I think they are going about it the right way. And I do think they have got a good product, but it's the wellness one. It's not one I would have come up with, to be honest, because I think it's people buy based on problems, not on generalized concepts.
Cool. Well, best of luck to them. And once again, the owner was one of the owners was extremely kind when he sent me the products.